a team that's currently in the playoffs right now is the Charlotte Hornets. They're the 7th seed. They're 12-14. We're not going to talk about the team, though. We're going to talk about LaMelo Ball. And his stats this season, 14 points per game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 44% from the field and 36% from three. But in his starts, his stats as a starter, he's averaging 22, 6, and 5. And I think he is going to be the runaway rookie of the year at this point. They're 3-3 when he starts, which is an okay record. I mean, the Hornets are below 500 as a whole, so being 500 with him starting is a jump. My concern is James Borrego going to start Devontae Graham over LaMelo when he gets back? Because right now,
I thought it was Terry out.
Terry's back. He played yesterday, and Devontae was out. Every game that Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier have played in this season, they have started. So I'm not sure if he's going to go back to that, but I think LaMelo has earned his starting spot. In his starts, he's shooting 45% from the field and 49% from three, and it's obvious the team just flows better with LaMelo. I think he's the runaway rookie of the year this season, especially if he keeps on starting. There's nobody that's going to come close. Maybe Tyrese Halliburton is there, but he's going to come off the bench for the rest of the season. Who else? Anthony Edwards, he's super inefficient.
He comes off the bench too. Yeah,
LaMelo Ball is going to be the runaway rookie of the year if they keep on starting him, but I'm not sure if they do. I hope that he does, but I want to say this. James Borrego is a heck of a coach. He knows what he's doing. He puts LaMelo in great positions to succeed. He's really a great coach, so I don't want to take anything away from him. I just think that LaMelo should be starting.
I think a lot of the rookies in this class have been benched or coming off the bench this year. I agree, though. I think we said this like a couple weeks ago. LaMelo, when he decides to start, he's going to run away with this Rookie of the Year award, and he's going to do that. He's going to be his clean sweep of the Rookie of the Year award. I think James Borrego knows what he's doing in a sense. I do believe he should start, regardless if Devontae Graham comes back. He hasn't been playing great this year. If he wants to come off the bench, though, I don't see LaMelo Ball's play dropping any. I think he's going to still play at that high level regardless. But I think James Borrego knows what he has. I think starting him right now, seeing that the team is better suited with him starting, is it really going to come down to if he believes this team can make a real push in the playoffs? I know they're in it right now, but they could still drop. But if he feels like this team can flow behind LaMelo for a playoff push, I think he's going to make the right decision to keep LaMelo as a starter.
Either way, I think he should be starting. Whether he thinks they're a playoff team or not, even if he thinks they're not a playoff team or don't think they'll make a playoff push with him starting, I think it's best for LaMelo's development. And you're starting to see now, like, he is just a bred basketball player. Like, the IQ, the stuff he does as a passer is just things that you can't teach at this age. Like, maybe you learn it throughout the course of your career. Like, we've seen LeBron develop from when he was first in the league, how his playmaking developed. LaMelo has come in with such high playmaking skills that I can't wait to see him blossom in his career. You've heard it throughout his life, really, that he was this protege. You saw him at Chino Hills and then going overseas, and there was always that concern about maturity. I think that although he's had, like, funny moments, he's been pretty mature in Charlotte, and you haven't really seen any issues from him.
I knew that would be a good spot for him, like somewhere low-key, a small town, not a small town, but a city, but a, small market type thing. I knew that would be perfect for him to groom, and I thought that was the bad thing for Lonzo. He had to go to the bright lights of L.A., and it was going to be a lot of energy on him. But with this, you see their dad, is not really, on him as much, not in the media as much, so that gives LaMelo free roam to just hoop, and that's what he's doing. And
you see the numbers. He's the runaway if he starts.
For me, I love LaMelo's personality. LaMelo, I mean, we gotta put things into perspective. He's 19 years old. He's just having fun. The way he interacts with the media, he's very respectful. He's very fun. He's charming to the media. Honestly, that's what I could describe it. He's very charming. He's very outgoing. He's very open. He's always got a smile on his face. And I think the best point guards have always played the game and had fun. And right now, LaMelo's having fun. He's still figuring out the game. And the thing that separates him and Lonzo is that LaMelo is an aggressive scorer. He has swagger. He's an extrovert. Lonzo is more of an introvert. We see him from time to time, do his thing. But for the most part, the difference between those two is I think when Lonzo gets criticized, he kind of thinks about it too much, and he thinks about the game too much. With LaMelo, if something were to happen to him, I think he takes that as fuel, or he just doesn't even care about it, and he just focuses on him. I mean, he's been famous from the time that he was a teenager.
Yeah.
He knows how to deal with fame because he's been dealing it for years already. I think Charlotte was a good spot for him, not only because it's low-key, but I think the talent around him was really good to be there with Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham, some good vets. Gordon Hayward is there. Cody Zeller, he's been the most not great consistent big man for a while in the NBA. He's starting every single year, even though he's not phenomenal, but he does what he has to do. And right now, LaMelo is leading all rookies in points, rebounds, assists, steals, double-doubles, and triple-doubles.
That is embarrassing.
Wow.
So he's doing it all, and he's by a wide margin. I think LaMelo Ball, because of that, is the runaway rookie of the year. And I said if he starts, but I think if he starts, it's like not even race, not even competition.
I still think he'll win it.
Yeah, he'll still win it.
I don't think it's a race anymore. I think it's his to lose at this point.
Yeah, and if they stay healthy, I think they're definitely a playoff team in the Eastern Conference. Just because you look at, I think there's a big drop off between teams that are in it right now and teams that are out of it. With the exception of the Heat, maybe the Magic could make a run, but teams that are out of it, especially considering those 2 play-in game spots, I don't see there's any way the Hornets aren't playing playoff basketball if they stay healthy. And they have a really nice young core. I like what they're building, between P.J. Washington, Bridges, Ball, and then if you want to consider Rozier and Graham a part of that. But, it's a lot of fun to see what they're building there in Charlotte, and I can't wait to see how it develops.
I just want to see. I don't know if they're a lock to make the playoffs because I think there are going to be 7 playoff teams that are going to be in it. I think the last spot it's going to come down to Atlanta, Charlotte, New York, and Chicago will be in the race as well.
Do you count the play-ins?
The plans as making the playoffs?
Yeah.
I wouldn't because they're a lottery pick still.
Yeah, I don't count
That's what I was. I said they're a lock to at least make the play-ins.
The play-in is 9th and 10th seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they play and then they play the 8th.
I mean, that's possible. Yeah, I could see that. But to make the playoffs, I'm not sure because, I think there's just a bunch of teams fighting for that spot. And LaMelo, as great as he's been, I think he's just finding his way into the league. Next year, I think, is when he's going to take a way bigger leap. But right now, he reminds me of a not to sound cliche, because I know Lonzo got this comparison, but as a passer, a young Jason Kidd, you can reasonably debate right now that LaMelo's a top 10 passer in the NBA.
I was thinking of Steve Nash in my head, just a faster, taller Steve Nash in my head. To be honest, I could see the Jason Kidd though. That's what I thought came to mind though.
He's still definitely got to fill out a little bit, but if that's your biggest concern, I think you got to be very happy with what you got. Size-wise, he's got to get stronger.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Oh, yeah. No, he's definitely a top 10 passer in the league right now.
If I had told you that at this point in the season, your biggest concern with LaMelo would be he's got to fill out a little bit, get a little bit stronger.
Yeah, you could have said that.
You'd sign up for that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So, wait, I have a question.
His biggest concerns were shooting and defense, and he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, you think Golden State should have took LaMelo?
Yeah, they should have. I thought Minnesota should have took LaMelo.
Yeah, that too.
The only question is the fit. When Klay Thompson comes back, but at that point, is it best player? Is he good enough to be okay, we got to take the best player on the board, fit be damned? Well, Minnesota definitely should have taken him.
LaMelo's 6'8". He can play the 3. He can, and basketball right now is positionless regardless. So when people tend to be fixated on a PG shooting guard, small forward, 1, 2, 3, whatever, but in reality, it's positionless basketball. If you have 6'8" LaMelo, 6'7" Klay, and 6'3" Steph, you'll be fine. Whether, you want, of course, LaMelo would be the one to initiate offense, and being in that system as a primary passer, that's really dangerous, especially if you have Klay and Steph. I think
you see what Draymond's doing.
Wiseman can be really good, and I'm not saying that he won't be, but I'm also saying that centers are kind of undervalued. Centers, you can find a lot of centers. You can find a James Wiseman. As long as James Wiseman doesn't turn into Joel Embiid, you can find another James Wiseman. If he's a Mitchell Robinson at best, You can find those.
I think he's got a higher ceiling.
I don't think you can.
But will he
find,
reach the ceiling?
That's the thing.
Centers don't really reach their ceiling.
I don't think you find LaMelos anywhere. Like a gifted passer like that right away coming into the league now.
That's true.
You don't find that. James Wiseman, you can't really say something about him outside of his height that, oh, you can't find that in Wiseman. Like you can't find that anywhere else. It's just he's gifted with that.
I also think he would have had a little bit harder of a time finding himself in Golden State just because they're a very system-based team. I think we've seen that this year. It's made Andrew Wiggins look a lot better, and I think it's made Kelly Oubre look a lot worse. It's made Draymond Green look better throughout his career. So I think it would have been interesting to see how he would have fit in that system and if it would have made him look better or worse. Obviously, it would have made him it would have hit on his playmaking skills, but his scoring, it would have been tougher for him to come by opportunities depending on how they ran that offense. So it would have been interesting to see how that system affected.
Well, I'm curious because if we, say, for example, we did that, if LaMelo becomes the primary ball handler, what do you do with Draymond?
His position would be
you
a
could
little
still run
bit
him
more
off pick and
obsolete.
rolls.
That he would be the roller?
I mean, yeah, I think you could be. It could be an exchange of two, but I think you could run.
Because he's kind of like a Harden, but worse. Like when you said Harden looks to pass, Draymond doesn't look to score like at all, like ever. So if you do run a pick and roll, you know what he's gonna do. He's always gonna pass that ball. So getting him out there, and you see Draymond being the primary ball handler, that's unlocked his playmaking ability. But if you take that away and you put LaMelo out there, you got a guy who they don't really need to guard. Another guy with Kelly Oubre playing the way he playing, they don't really need to guard. So.
I think it's been really good in Charlotte how he's kind of been free to grow within himself, if that makes sense. And also, like, James Borrego's been tough on him. There's no question about it. He had that press conference talking about the turnovers and all of that. But on the court, he's let him play pretty freely within the offense. So I feel like that's been good for him to grow.
I mean, I think that too, but I just feel as if when you got a coach as good as Steve Kerr, it's going to work out. You know, I think it's going to work out. I think the best two coaches, obviously I think Greg Popovich is the best coach in the NBA, but since that's kind of like, you know, we know that, it's like the next guy. When we're talking about X's and O's, I think it's Quinn Snyder and Steve Kerr and everybody else in the NBA. And Brad Stevens is in that conversation as well. But then I think it's everybody else. I think Steve Kerr, having a talent like LaMelo, he'd make it work. It wouldn't be, you know,
I agree.
too difficult. He's not going to have LaMelo be doing too much.